A mistake most coaches and business owners make when it comes to creating content for their business, and this may be exactly what you're doing too, is they create content for the sake of creating content. You see, they've been told to be consistent and they know that they should be producing content. So they start writing posts and shooting videos and piecing together different things that they see from different people to create their own pieces of content. But here's what they don't realize. Every time and anytime you create content and you put it out into the world, that is considered content marketing. And marketing is supposed to bring in money, right? So your content needs to do more than just attract an audience. Your content needs to do two things. Number one, it needs to add value to the people or the person who is consuming your content. Number two, it should bring this person one step closer to buying from you. Otherwise, what is your content doing for you? Unless you just enjoy creating content for the sake of creating content. So as you start thinking of content as a marketing tool, not just another item on your to-do list for your business, it's an actual strategic and intentional and important part of your business. Maybe now you're wondering, so what type of content should I be producing then? Great question, and I have an answer for you. In fact, I have three. I want you to consider this video your kind of like a cheat sheet that gives you secret keys to creating content that not only gets people to like and follow, but gets people closer to actually wanting to work with you and to buy your product. If we haven't met before, I'm Muna from Inside Out with Muna, where I help you build and grow your personal brand and your coaching business online. Thank you for being here and welcome. Now let's get to the first secret key to creating amazing content, and that is to uncover mistakes. Now, you and I know that the internet is a crowded place and there's an abundance of content out there, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And that also means that in order for your message to stand out, in order for people to stop and listen, then you too need to make some noise. And one of the best ways to do that is to become a thought leader, not just someone who throws out information and how-tos and tutorials. And one brilliant way to do that is to show people some mistakes that they're making that they're not aware of. Because anytime someone's making a mistake is a time that they're not aware that they wouldn't be making this mistake if they knew they were making this mistake. So if you come along and you uncover a mistake that they're making that they weren't even aware that they were making, that is when you become a thought leader. That is when people stop and pay attention to what you're talking about. Now, let me give you a couple of examples, and I'm going to give you an exercise to try for your own business and your own content. And I promise you, this next piece of content that you create will be different from the ones that you've created in the past. So I'll give you an example from when I was focusing my business on conscious parenting. So I was working with parents on getting out of the cycle of yelling and punishing and all of the traditional way of parenting, at least the negative part of it, to become more conscious, more gentle, more peaceful with their children. So when I would create pieces of content based on this key that I'm giving you right now, I would ask myself, what mistakes are parents making? And then I would do the exercise that I want you to do as well. So I want you right now to think about your target audience, your ideal person. And I want you to think of 3 mistakes that they're making right now that's stopping them from getting the goal or the result that they want. Think of 3 mistakes. So I'll give you my example. So for example, one mistake that parents who I used to work with were making was yelling at their kids. Mistake number 2 is they were punishing their children. Mistake number 3 is they were rewarding their children. Now, looking at these 3 mistakes, yelling, punishing, and rewarding. The first mistake, I think every parent who comes to a conscious parenting coach has this problem. They're aware that they're making this mistake and they want to stop it. So me sharing about that wouldn't be like, oh my God, I never knew that yelling at my kids is such a big issue. It's the same with punishment, although that was a bit more surprising for some. But the third one, that was surprising, at least to me when I learned it. And I know that when I started talking to my audience and to my clients about it, they were surprised too. Like, what? What do you mean rewards are negative? What do you mean rewards are not part of conscious parenting? And that would get them excited and interested to ask me questions and to talk to me. And once I explained why rewards have the same effect as punishment in one way or another, then they listened even closer. And then they wanted to work with me to help them with their children. You see what I mean? So now think of three mistakes that your ideal client is making, and I want you to choose the one that is most surprising of all. Let's take another simple example before we move on to the second secret key. Another example is, let's say you are a fitness coach and you want to uncover mistakes that your clients are making. So maybe you say mistake number one is they're not working out. Mistake number two is they're not eating enough proteins. Mistake number three is they're not getting enough sleep. So out of these three, which one is the most surprising? Which one would people be like, oh my God, I never thought about that? For me, when I had my own fitness coach, number three was the biggest surprise. I didn't know that my sleep would affect my fitness. I knew it would affect my energy, of course, but I didn't know that weight loss would become harder if you're not getting enough sleep and enough rest. And that made me pay attention and pay closer attention to that coach who was talking about that. So by uncovering mistakes like these, mistakes that people didn't know they were making, and you show them that, that's when you become a thought leader that they want to listen to and eventually work with. Secret key number two is to teach the why before you teach the how. Now imagine that you're scrolling social media and you see this post about how to hold your breath for 3 full minutes. If that's not something that you're looking for, you're probably just gonna immediately scroll on by, right? But what if that post instead said, did you know that holding your breath for 3 full minutes has positive effects on your mental health, and it allows your blood circulation to, I don't know, I'm just making things up, but it tells you why holding your breath once a day for 3 full minutes is really helpful for you as a human being. Now, are you more interested in learning how to hold your breath for 3 full minutes? That's definitely the case. Now, a mistake that most of us make when we're creating content, definitely something that I used to do in the past, is to immediately jump into the how. Step one, step two, step three. But if I haven't convinced you of why this is important, you're not going to be interested to know what the steps are. So always start with the why, get them interested, get them to buy in, show evidence, show reasons, show stories. Now they believe you. They're like, oh my God, yes, this thing is real. How do I do it? That's when your content becomes so much more relevant to them. Secret key number three is to be specific, uncomfortably specific. This is something that I've learned the hard way in my business. And it's that when you're talking to everybody, you end up talking to nobody. And this goes back to the importance of choosing your specialty and your niche and who exactly you want to work with. If you haven't done that yet, then I'll refer you to this video over here to watch after watching this one, where I walk you through how to choose your niche and why it's so important to have a very specific niche. This now helps you with creating content that speaks directly to your ideal and dream client. So let's say you're someone who coaches mothers on how to become more organized in their lives. Nice, great, right? What if instead you are someone who coaches mothers of preteen kids who are trying to get back into the workplace, and you're helping them become more organized with their time so that they can achieve their goals? How much more specific are you now? Now, this kind of content is the content that will make that mother with the preteen kids who's updating her CV stop and pay attention, because now she's thinking, oh my God, she's talking directly to me. When we create content that's so general, that talks to everyone, that's exactly the content that ends up talking to no one, because it's so general. When I say mom, there's so many different types of moms. There's grandmothers who are moms, there's working moms, there's single moms, there's moms of single children, there's adoptive parents. There's so many different types of moms. When you become specific, that person, that ideal person, will listen and really want to hear what you're saying and learn from you and eventually work with you. Creating content shouldn't be just another item that you tick off your to do list without much thought or strategy. It is by far the most powerful tool in your business. Now, if you're looking for more content ideas and more of where this came from, then I'll refer you to this video that you can watch right after this one, where I share with you more amazing content ideas so that you never run out of content ideas ever again. Before you go, if making money is on your to-do list, then I can help you with that with a free mini training, a 5-step process that I walk you through in this short video training around 30 minutes to help you make your first or your next $1,000 in your business. So make sure you grab this free training that you can watch at your own time, at your own pace, from the link underneath this video. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week.